Hello guys, welcome back to the HardReset.Info channel. In today's video, I do have the OnePlus 15 and I'm going to show you the top 10 settings to change first when setting up your device. So actually, after setting your device, the best first settings to change is as you can see, in the display and brightness. So let me go to the display and brightness over here, and if you scroll down, there it is, screen refresh rate. Set it to high. Actually, you can set the auto select, which automatically is the optimal refresh rate for a device to bring a continuous smooth experience and conserve the battery power. But as you can see here, we do have high. This is a refresh rate up to 165 Hz, which is unusually not common on the phones. And as you can see, you can set it to high for a moment to feel the smoothness on your device. So you can set either auto select or high. Now we can go back and go back. Here you can go to the battery. So here in the battery, you can scroll down further and further to the charging settings. Enable the smart rapid charging and enable the quiet charging over here, but it should be automatically turned on. And as you can see, these two options should help you. The first one is when you charge your device faster. You can charge your device faster when you are using original and genuine power adapter and the cable. Of course, the device may get warmer during the charging, but that's not really the case. The most important thing is that you'll have the faster charging. It doesn't really impact the battery. It was tested and there was research about this topic. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that you'll have your battery quickly charged. Apart from that, here in the wireless charging, we will have the quiet charging, and it's about when the wireless charger runs at low power level to minimize the noise. You can actually set it to the bedtime, always, or custom. So your device learns your sleep pattern, so it can automatically set a lower charging rate when you go to bed, custom or always. And that's it for the battery. Now we can move to the plus key. Tap plus key, and here, as you can see, this is this button right here, and we can start with the mind space. The mind space is a thing that is AI, of course, and this is your own space that just recognize something which is on the screen. You can save your notes here and just do everything that you want. But about the plus key, you can set every single thing that you just want from this list over here to set using this button. You can set it to no action if you don't really like that. But here you have, as you can see, screenshot, translate, so you can just open the translate application, record a voice memo, enable the flashlight, turn on the camera, turn on the no disturb mode, press and hold switch to device ring, vibrate tile mode, and this this mind space. You can set it by tapping the set button at the bottom of your screen. And now if we do the press and hold as it was said, we can enable or disable the option. Now when we go back, we can move to the next function, which is placed in the system and update. Here tap system navigation, and now here if we go up, the default value that's set is buttons. And of course they are classic. They are very nice for those who don't really use the phone that much, but if you want to be more modern and if you want to have more speed on the screen and navigate faster, of course it needs some learning. We can tap gestures over here. Here I do have disabled, but you can tap learn gestures here, and now here, as you can see, you can have the tutorial. Swipe it from the left to go back, swipe from the right to go back. Here we will have back to home screen. You can tap and try it out. View recent tasks, switch between recently opened tabs. And that's how it works. Gestures are just more modern and fresher. Apart from that, we can go back to display and brightness in our device, which is here, and scroll down to the screen color mode. As I can see here, they have 3 options. Standard, which is this one, natural, which is more actually toned colors, less toned colors, this is more natural, and bright, vivid. Here vivid, as you can see, it's just like the most careful one that you may just have heard. I personally prefer natural or standard, but if you want to use vivid, use vivid without any hesitation. It doesn't really matter it doesn't really bother the battery, it's just your own opinion. Here we can now exit the settings application for now, and let's teach you something. You don't really have to hide your application in the app drawer and in the folders or something like that. If you want to hide any application in your phone from others, or just, for example, lock it, like for example in the fingerprint and the password, like only for other Android phones or on the iPhones, you can just hold the application and tap App Lock. Here, as you can see, we have to access locked or hidden applications. You'll need to enter your privacy password. Hidden applications will no longer appear on the home screen, notifications, or in recent tasks. Here we have 2 options, lock and hide. If we tap lock, we can tap settings to enter the privacy password. We can set, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't recommend using these passwords, but for the video purposes we can set it. And now here, as you can see, we can set the recovery email and question. And if we set this both informations, we can both, as you can see, lock and hide the application. And actually that's it for about hiding your applications, especially if you do share your phone much. Apart from that, we can go to the settings and scroll all the way down to the to the About Device section. Now if you scroll further, you can find RAM. Tap it, and now here, as you can see, they have the RAM expansion. When the storage space is sufficient, you can use some of it to expand your RAM. The available storage space will be reduced accordingly. So actually enable this option and set it to 12 gigabytes. 12 gigabytes is the maximum limit of expanding your RAM, and you can get smoother multitasking by letting the system optimize RAM intelligently. So actually, I really recommend using this option. Now we can go back and go back again. Here we should find the accessibility and convenience, and now here, as you can see, we do have something called this smart sidebar. If we tap it, this is this smart bar over here. By default, this option is disabled, so tap it and enable that. As I can see here, they have a lot of options. For example, floating bar. I'll just the location. Where was it? I'll just location, size, and auto hide settings for the floating bar. Tap it, and now we can set it to auto hide, so that now we don't see it or don't hide, and it's not hidden. We can adjust the size, like as you can see, the length, transparency, and up and down, left and right, and restore the default settings. Here, apart from that, we do have something called file dock, which is very, very useful, and I do recommend having this option enabled, because file dock is nothing else like the, for example, clipboard. So here, now let's leave the file dock enabled. And now if you do enter, for example, some website, for example, let me search for the Winter Labubu wallpaper and tap all, we can find some text. For example, let me copy this text from here. If we select here this text, we can tap copy, or hold it once again hold it with our finger and save to file doc. Now, as you can see, we have this tutorial, but that's not about here. Now we can go to the other application, other everything else, expand it, and drag the text here. That's how it works, and it's very, very nice and useful because it works like with the multi devices. For example, you can have two OnePlus devices where you are logged into the same OnePlus account, and here in the you can use the same one file log for two devices, which is very, very useful. And the smart sidebar itself, as you can see, is a bar where you do have the applications. You can just use some actions or applications. So very, very useful. Apart from that, we can go to the sound and vibration here. And now here tap the vibration density. Adjust the haptics up to your own needs, and adjust the message notifications haptics up to your own needs. This is very important, but because when I first touched this phone, I couldn't feel these haptics, and it's very important to set it up to your own needs. Apart from that, you can tap haptics here and enable system haptics. We can set the haptic intensity here and tap here gentle to, for example, more crisp. I personally like the crisp thing more. And now the final thing for you is the enhanced Wi-Fi. Here, if we go to the Wi-Fi, we can see here these three dots. We can tap more settings, and here, as you can see, we have all the Wi-Fi. If we enable all the Wi-Fi, you can enable automatically turn on Wi-Fi when you're near a previously connected Wi-Fi network. It's very, very nice actually to have it enabled. And apart from that, here you do have something called dual channel network acceleration, which is to use Wi-Fi and mobile data at the same time for a faster internet connection, and the dual Wi-Fi acceleration where you can connect to two Wi-Fi networks at the same time for a faster internet connection. It's really seen in the phones, and it's very, very useful option. So leave it enabled. We can leave the auto connected device Wi-Fi too. And actually that is for this video. If you found it helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and leave a like under our video. It's very important to us to have your feedback, so if you really liked this video and if it was useful for you, please sure like and subscribe. And as I said, that's it. Hope it helps you, and have a nice day. Goodbye.